Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, Martin. Thanks for joining today. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Let's wait a couple of minutes, see more join. Does anyone know who Brian's autopilot is? I imagine some AI, or is it someone?
It's a recording to do transcription automatically. So Otter.ai has this tool that you can connect to most anything that will automatically record, recognize people's faces and voices, and build your transcript. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds cool. But is that something you brought into the meeting, Dave? Or
No, it's the company's called Otter.ai. When I was on for the first time last week, I saw it and went and looked it up. That's the only reason I know about it.
okay.
If is this my otter that you guys are talking about, the Brian's otter pilot? Yeah,
Yep.
I did. That thing has a mind of its own. We can, whoever's host can kick it out if you prefer to. I didn't realize it was trying to join the TOC meetings. So
It sounds really cool. The write-up sounds really cool because I went and looked it up.
oh, it's been great. It's a savior, but it starts just, once you connect it to your calendar, then it just shows up everywhere, and even when you don't want it. So.
Oh, it's baby.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so let me start sharing the notes. And yeah, I pasted a link to the notes in the chat for anyone who not have them. And feel free to sign yourself in if you would like to for today's meeting. Yeah, I guess since it's pre-past, it's probably a good time to get started. And so for the recording, welcome everyone to the CDF TOC meeting. Today is June the 18th. My name is Andrea Frittoli. I work for IBM. And so first thing, today is July the 2nd. I'll do it again, so maybe I need to get more coffee. Today is July the 2nd, and yeah, feel free to sign yourself in here. Right, so the first thing we have on the agenda for today is a demo for LFX Insight that Michelle joined us today to present. So if that's okay, I would stop sharing then, Michelle, so you can start.
And actually, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Kieran McDermott, who is also on the call. He's part of the LFX Insights team, and he'll actually be leading us today. Just quick shout out to Nadine from Trace Makita. I believe this is her first TOC call, so welcome. She's a new member of the CDF. So just wanted to say hello to her as well. So Kieran, take it away.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kieran. I'm a product person here at the Linux Foundation, and was asked to come in and show our Insights tool. So for those of you who don't know, Insights is our tool that once you onboard your project, you can get different metrics around open metrics around that project. So the way you find it, let me go ahead and share my screen, is either in the Linux Foundation. Let me make this smaller. Up here, when you come into your individual dashboard or anything, you'll notice that there's often a tools bar. If you go on the tools bar and you click Insights, it will, well, I can just show you actually, it'll bring you right here. And in that, you can see the different projects. So you can either click on a project that interests you, if you know what foundation or what project it is, or you can come up here and just type a specific project, like let's say Argo. I can click into Argo, and if you're logged in, which I'm logged in, I can do custom time ranges. If you're not logged in, the default is 12 months. So you need to be in your Linux account logged in. So this is a CNCF project, Argo. We have all of their different repos here. So, if I wanted to click and see just different lenses, I can click on that. It'll give you a contributor count. And again, this is always from the last 12 months, unless I change this. So they're up contributors 2%, down commits 7%, issues, pull requests. These are also all clickable. So you can start to see a trend of what's happening. So how many issues have been opened? What was the total count of the issues? How many were closed that month, and kind of give you a sense of those issues. So with this data, I might be able to go, oh, wow, okay, we had a spike in February of 24. I wonder why. So that's one way you can do that. It shows PRs, forks, and stars. Best practices score just shows a breakdown of the how well that they're doing as far as documentation, standards, security, or legal. So with this, you can click through. Some other nice things that it has is you can also see this graph by activities. So activities is anything related to the project. So that might look like commits, issues being opened or closed, pull requests, comments, reviews. You can also click on any of these metrics as well. So you can say, okay, well, I want to know more around who's doing commit activities rather than just overall activities. And it'll go ahead and change that, and I'll show you who's doing that by their source contributor. So this is your typical bus factor chart, or whatever you want to call it. How reliant are you on? So the top 18 contributors of Argo contribute 51% of the activities. The next 3,600 do the remaining 49%. So it shows that long tail. So you can kind of see who's your most engaged users. Are they becoming more engaged, less engaged over the past year? You can see an organizational rank. So again, Intuit having the majority of the contributions, but there's 4 organizations that really rely on developing Argo, and another 960 that also use it. As we go down, we can see some other things. How many days on average were people contributors active? How many active days? This is more important for smaller projects. This project's pretty well maintained, so it shows a lot of activity. It also starts to show a little bit about when does the contributions happen. So this chart shows when the commit activities are being made by contributors in their local time zone. What this shows is, hey, about 45% of the total work on these projects is happening outside of business hours. All that is an indicator. It says, hey, we have some people who like to work on weekends and commit. We have some people who like to commit at night. It doesn't mean that they're not employed or they could use that, but sometimes if this is really weighted towards nights and weekends, it could be an indicator that as a project, like maybe if you're one of these companies or one of these people, that you need some more time, that you want to be doing things more in the day, during the day, but it kind of shows you those counts again for the past year, unless I change that. This is just a straight leaderboard. So this is just,
Hey, Kieran, I think Andrea has a quick question.
okay, I can't see the chat. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure whether it was appropriate to ask question in the middle,
Sure,
but
whatever you'd like. Yeah.
yeah, you mentioned like a local time zone. I was wondering where do you get that information from? Is it like associated to the Linux Foundation account that you know?
Yeah, it'd either
people's
be
time zone?
it'd be their GitHub, or in this case, like their Git when they commit. So if we had that data, if we don't, we wouldn't put it. It's is how we do that. So yeah, it's when in their local time zone from their, I think this is Git data. It's either Git or GitHub that we get that from. And if we don't have it, then we wouldn't put it on here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, and so then this is just a longer list of, again, that full list of, of the 3,600 contributors. You can also download any of these charts. If they're interested, they can be downloaded as a PNG or a CSV to look into. Again, you can change this and say, well, I don't really care about maybe overall activities, but I do care about, hey, who's closing the most issues on this project? And you can change that, or you can say, from a company perspective, who's closing pull requests, I guess, let's just say. And this gives you that list. You can download as a PNG, which is just a screenshot of it's just a PNG of the top, whatever that are here, 15 or so, but the CSV would actually give you the full list, the 389 people who are closing issues on Argo over the last 12 months. Again, here's just your indicators of what companies are, doing that. You can play with any of these metrics and choose them, close them, who's opening pull requests. Sometimes it's fun to see from a company perspective or whatever. So it just shows you those data points. And then it gives you a geographical distribution of where are your contributors coming from. So in this specific space, it kind of, you can hover on and say, okay, we have 1 in Argentina, 6 in Brazil, 121 in the US. Okay. Again, it could just be indicators that are nice. For this project also, if we look at velocity, because I have not, for this project, I don't believe we've done other things like Confluence. You can hook up your Confluence or your mailing lists and get some data there as well. But this would show you also the velocity of average time to merge. So is it increasing? Is it decreasing versus the time period, meaning the previous 12 months over this 12 months? What's our lead time? So how long does it take us to pick up a PR as a project? When it's a review is after the first comment is, we basically say the review started, and then after it's been accepted is PR approved, and then when it's merged, obviously, is PR merged. This is all GitHub data. Again, lead time by pull request, as not surprising, the more lines, the longer it typically takes for those pull requests to come through. Review time by pull request size, average wait time for first review. So there's a slowdown here recently. This, could be interesting and may or may not be for that project. This also will show you, again, pull request participants, who's reviewing pull requests, our pull request reviews as they go, review comments. So how engaged are people on the project, and again, code reviews. As you see, dips happen around the holidays, whatever. But sometimes this can show some interesting information. Again, who your most engaged contributors are, where the work's happening. We also have one called productivity. This will show, again, commits per day average. Obviously, it's not supposed to fall off. It's supposed to do a trend. So I'll have to look at this one. Work time distribution, again, is more work happening. Sometimes this is a nice trend to show businesses where we kind of be able to influence them and go, hey, look, like there's a lot of non-business hours work that could be just the nature of the project. It also could be that it's an indicator, again, that the project needs more investment. Or again, it could also be an indicator people like to work on nights and weekends. So but it can tell a story. This can also show if a business goes, okay, we're going to put some increased exposure to get people to maybe have more time during their business day to get some stuff done, you can start to see that trend and see if it starts to trail down or if it's increasing up. This also will show you contributors who are just drifting away or new contributors who are coming in to the project. This bot, I'm going to hide this. That's not supposed to be there. If we do see bots in the data, we have a way of hiding the bot data. That's one other thing to call out. All of this is bots are removed, so it's a better look at, potentially a better look at. You can also you can unhide bots here if needed to. So you could do, again, the last year, last 3 years, last 10 years. That's going to give you a full year look. So last year would be January of 2023 to December 31st of 2023. This will again be the 3 years prior to that, the 10 years prior to that. You can also do custom date ranges. So if you wanted to select dates, if you're, or you can even look at the last quarter for a tighter view. You can unhide bots. That just can sometimes just show the overall data. And because sometimes people go, well, why doesn't the data match with GitHub? And it's often because the bots are hid. We auto hide bots because we feel like it gives a better look. Contributors drifting away. This can again just allow you to, and the reason GitHub's showing is because of this bot. So that's why it's a contributor's GitHub. But it can just give you an indicator. Go, wow, I didn't know. I know this person. They're really drifting away. That's interesting. Let me see here. Hopefully you're using OTL geometry. I have no idea, Dave. I hope so too. But yeah, so then we go engagement gap. Again, just shows is there more engagement or less. Efforts by pull request batch size. And anywhere, we also have these tooltips that you can look in and then click through to go right into the documentation that shows how to interact with the chart. What is it? What are we trying to show with it? Why do we feel it's important with question and answers? So if you ever get stuck or are wondering, you can click through the little information tooltip or learn more. Again, any of these charts can be downloaded as a PNG or CSV to just look at the data in a different way. We also have reports. So we just have a straight report on contributors, and I'll be done here in the next 3 minutes and I can take more questions. But this just shows you, again, total contributors over the past 12 months, active contributors over the last 7 days, is that up or down? Active contributor last 30 days, up or down? This just, again, tells a trend. And it can kind of show that where we have this monthly active contributors, most active contributors on the leaderboard. Again, another way that people like to see this data a few different ways is what we've been told. Organizations, again, how many organizations use my project? Are they increasing or decreasing? Active organizations and active organizations by activities, who's doing the most work, who's contributing the most on the project. Activities, again, just a straight activities breakdown may or may not be useful, but it kind of tries to show where's the work happening, primarily on GitHub for the activities, and then Git for the commits. By geography, so you can understand, and then retention, and just kind of tries to show who's staying, who's going. I don't know what's going on with this one. This may be a bug. So with retention, it looks like I'm having a problem, but we're trying just to show. Oh, there we go. Are people staying around to the project? It just shows a long tail average number of activities per contributor. So it also shows like maybe an indicator of your most important people that are sticking around, doing the most work. How are they trailing off the project? Things like that. So, and as far as the overview, some projects have Garrett. If you don't have Garrett, don't use it. It's just the GitHub, and you have to you can create a ticket if you don't have your mailing lists, which is Groups.io, or your Confluence data if you had documentation happening. If you put these on there, then we do include that in some of these metrics. So this is where it is. Again, this is where so I'll show you like the bots will change the data, and it'll show the contributor count go up potentially or whatever. We just hide them by default. And again, if you change to like the last quarter or something like that, hey, what's happening in the past 90 days? Are things going up or down? What's happening? So if there's any questions, I'll check the chat. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for showing this to us. I have seen this before, but it has a big gap,
Mhm.
a really big gap. And that is in any programs, let's say an ambassador program, for example, outreach, DevRel. These folks are not driven by pull requests, and they are completely forgotten. And it shows really. So basically, you have a lot of men in that because it's guys that usually do the contributions. We try to get women to do more, but there are mainly guys who are in there. Women tend to do the outreach, unfortunately. That's just how it's flushing out. So women aren't represented whatsoever, and it makes it almost impossible to run any kind of ambassador program for any of these projects. And I've tried to do them for many. So if there was a way that we could track how many times somebody submitted a talk, even if it was just for the Linux Foundation, how many times somebody wrote a blog, how many times somebody did a talk. So the whole idea of DevRel is completely lost in this, and there are a lot of people doing lots of hard work in this area that get absolutely no feedback.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't currently track that. I'd have to probably understand more about specific programs. That's what we're trying to do. Confluent. We're trying to bring some things in that aren't just pure code related. It is more of a code related tool today. We also
It's all code related, and sometimes even the voting, and I don't know if this has been changed, but some of the voting is based on people who are, contributing, and it's getting tracked there. So somebody could be working their tail end off doing outreach and not even be able to vote for something within their open source project. So it's not very democratic, and it annoys me. I'm just going to say it that way.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I hear the annoyance, and I get it. I mean, trying to capture the fingerprint of all of the work really happening, because I agree with you. Actually, there's a tons of evangelism or ambassador work that is highly impactful to these
attending
projects.
meetings, being on boards. It's just far more important in some ways.
Yeah, and I do know Michelle does have access to Michelle. I don't know if
I'll share my screen really quick. So we have a metrics.
We are doing some of this. So I want to show, this health metrics piece that she can show. Oh, let me stop sharing so you can share. There you go.
So yeah, we have our our net promoter score. This kind of tracks the health of the project based on feedback from community members, obviously community sentiment and whatnot, non-member engagement, things like that. We do have an events section. For some reason, this one is not updated, but this
it's not sharing for me. I think it's because I was blocking you, and then
hang on.
Sorry.
Zoom has tabs across the top now, so you should be able to click on the tab to see Michelle's screen if you're just seeing speakers right now.
Whoops.
I know it's weird.
Oh yeah,
every now and then too.
Okay, that was me.
We'll need to get the events section updated, but this has things like our training and certification, our board member participation, subscriptions to the mailing list, campaigns for marketing. I know that in people's individual dashboards, there is the metrics that you're talking about, Tracy, as far as how many talks have you been involved in and things like that, but having it all in a central place that we can have visible to the community, I definitely agree that that's a gap. So I know they're still developing a lot of these features, and we can put in requests for them to update it. And I do think that this would be an important thing for the community to have access to. I'm currently the only one that has access, and I think that's also a gap. So thank you so much for that feedback.
And if there's a way, every working group I've been to and stuff has meeting notes, and everybody lists the names that are attending to that meeting. If there's a way that we could as a project organizer, if you want to call that, link to the meeting notes, and then your bots come along and read it.
Ideally, we would put all of you. So let me go. All right, so CDF. Hang on.
Or if there's another place to do meeting notes.
Yeah, I don't know why this isn't giving me a drop down for CDF. But I'll figure it out. But essentially, if you go to let me just go to my individual dashboard. So we can schedule all of your meetings through LFX, through PCC. And that'll give you the opportunity to record all of your meetings, have transcripts for all of your meetings, and you can also upload notes. So the good thing about this is everybody would have access. Anyone who's invited to your meeting, if it's a public meeting, we have a public calendar that we could post either on your website or to the Confluence. But essentially you would just go into like past meetings, and I can look at all of my transcripts. I can look at all of my recordings. Everything is in a central place for everyone. And I could identify someone within each community to be the community manager, essentially, and you would have the access needed to go in and change the meetings and things like that. So Steve, I'll go ahead and I'll chat with you offline about getting Ortelius on this and giving you access to book things and whatnot. But this also just gives people, I'll go back to my profile really quick. So I haven't done any talks or code contributions or anything like that. But this also is kind of where their personal information about where they're.
So you're doing all this work and getting no credit.
I know.
Well, it's the tough thing is it's so much that trying to get people engaged and to use it, because oftentimes this is people's second or third jobs. And so we're aware of that. We're also aware of some gaps in what we need to be doing, but we want to make sure it's like much easier. So we look at it, this is sort of an onboarding issue. Like when somebody's coming to an event, we want to be touching them and going, okay, hey, can you give us more information? But give them the reason why. Today, we don't really give them a good reason as to why it would be important to add those things. We are in the process of looking at redesigning both our individual and organizational dashboards to do a better job of storytelling, to do a better job of showing why and how we're using data, where and why you could be using the tools. But today it's, I'll just be honest, I'm going to be blunt. It's a bit disjointed. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And so we're really trying to think that it just takes time to do that. And once we have I'd say right now we have a lot of the features, but the way we're sort of presenting those doesn't make it easy for anybody because oftentimes when people are hitting our individual dashboards, they're trying to complete a specific thing. It's like, I need to get into this meeting, or no one's kind of in there really playing around with it. And that's not a shot at anybody. I'm saying we need to do a better job of making it more engaging, talking about why that's important. Hey, if you give us this data, here's how we're using it. We can actually get you credit. We can get you speaking engagements. We can get you different trainings or things like that. We can help you in your role. But again, I would say we're not there. We're there as far as we're getting there. I'd say, yeah, we're getting there as far as having the features, but we're not there as far as putting everything together in a way that tells that story. Because again, who wants to fill out another profile and do another thing? And so we're trying to do our best of integrating with things that have already done that, like LinkedIn or GitHub. But then also doing some unique things, like we want to be able to create a badge or something that somebody could share out and then invite somebody else to do that. So again, I would say bear with us, and it's something that we're working on. Is it a Q3 thing? Probably not. And Tracy, to your point, is it a Q3 thing? Yeah, we're thinking about how to do more with non-code contributions and show a more richness of the community. But yeah, we and I think Brian said in the chat, we do skew towards dev as well. And I would say, yeah, we're trying to get that area right. And then start to kind of build out from that foundation and show that full roundedness of the projects and the ecosystems and things like that, and the foundations. So we're thinking about it, but we're not there.
Enrique, did
Thanks.
you?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I have a very simple question. So I was taking a look on the data for our project, Shipwright, and I realized that there is this organization ranked at the very top,
Yeah.
but nobody is really kind of affiliated to the organization.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, how can I kind of report that there may be an issue with the data?
Yeah, so it's a great point. We just started onboarding your projects pretty recently, and I'd say the first step is ingesting the data. So we've started to ingest the data. The second step is that enrichment, which we do next. And so what I would say is, I mean, I'm on this call. I'll make a commitment to have our team that does enrichment kind of go through this. I know we've also, so the company that we acquired, that is our data hub, I guess. They also haven't had access to some of the tools they had before as we've done the acquisition. So May and June, some of the data in some of the projects that were onboarded or ingested after that, which the Continuous Delivery Foundation was one of those, hasn't quite had as much of the enrichment, meaning what you're going to see there is some of those organizational data as being not as great as they could be. So what I would say is, this is a long way for me to say, I'm on it. I will go into it. I will have our enrichment team take a pass through this foundation and do that. The good news is, if we affiliate someone somewhere, they're then affiliated across the board. And so I would say, bear with me. I'll do my best to try to get that data. It's a complex problem because we have to affiliate in a way that's privacy first in mindset. And then second, we have to do it in a way that also we do need to know, when did the contribution happen, under what company, and we have to do that in a way that isn't illegal or creepy, and so we're really trying hard to do that. It's a very tough problem on open source projects, because also that there is gaps in the data that from the way people even sign up for things and try to associate things. So I'd say let me work on this, and I'll let Michelle know when I feel like it's in a better place. But it usually takes a couple weeks for us to get on that team's backlog, have them go through that. It's both done manually and programmatically. So we have a couple ways we do it. It's not just one way or the other. But yeah, you will, especially. So I would say a lot of the data that's really good would be, well, it's all decent, but like all the issues, commits, pull requests, some of those charts, the overall number of contributors, all really solid. Even the individuals doing the work on the contributor dependency, really well done. I would say as we affiliate more of those profiles is when you would start to see that organizational data improve, which I know oftentimes people, look at it like that Project Argo. Before I did it, Intuit was like, hey, like we're the one, like we're main drivers of Argo project, and we're showing up third on the list. And it was literally just because one person or two people that had done 50% of the work didn't happen to be affiliated. So I was like, hey, can we affiliate these people? And once we did that, their data was like in a much better place. And so, so I'm on it. I will work on it. And I'm here to let you know that, that's just the actual state of things. And over time, the good news is if I get so for instance, let's take the CD events project. If I affiliate the 5 people that are doing 56% of the contributions, it will make the organizational data enhanced very quickly. And so usually we go through like the top 10 or top 20 people, see what we can do again in the best way we possibly can. And then you start to see that that data become a bit more enriched and a bit more accurate, so bear with us on that. But I would still say you could use, again, all of the data is accurate other than maybe the organizational affiliation. Okay, great. I don't know if Andrea or Steve. I think Andrea, maybe you were first, and then Steve.
Yeah, a couple of questions. So thanks for the presentation. So one thing was, I guess, related to what you were saying about identities. So oftentimes people use different emails. Sometimes they do contribution for the UI, and they show up as different things. And how can we aggregate those together. And it sounds like from what you were saying, this is not a self-service thing. We need to rely on someone to do
Today
that.
it isn't. Yeah. So one day we would like it to be self-service. So the way that would be is like one day it's sending people to that individual dashboard and say, hey, if you want your data to show up correctly, it's best practice for your project to go in and do this. We're just not there yet. And so I would say we're getting there. Like I would say
Kieran, there's no correlation between the Git that you
there is, but it's not one-to-one. There is. So I mean, people who understand big data problems and affiliating and things like that, and you have 30 different IDs and different emails and different things, and it's a really hard. There's a reason nobody's got this right. It's an extremely hard problem. My background is working in like resumes and recruiting and things like that, and so yeah, so we would have somebody come in and like they could connect their GitHub and connect their LinkedIn. That just helps us do all of that. And if and then we just do our best. We also, as people come to our events, we get a touch point, and if you give us data, we try to use that. And again, try to use everything respectfully. So if you noticed on the product, I'm trying to source where the data comes from, so that somebody's not confused or doesn't get like, well, hey, where are you getting that? It's like, well, that's your public GitHub, so that's where we got it. If you don't like it, like, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the tool that we use today, that's kind of self-service, and I think it makes it much more scalable and transparent.
Yeah.
So that's something that definitely would be nice to have, and especially also for things like bots. I mean, project. I don't know how you find out which accounts are bots and which are not. I mean, I guess you could guess sometimes from the fact that there is a bot sentence in the
Sometimes,
namespace.
sometimes GitHub lets us know, and we are able to then just like tag that. But yeah, it's not perfect. So like, for instance, like that last person, or like if you go down to any contributor here, yeah. So here we go, Jenkins bot. Like, pretty good idea. That's a bot. But
Yeah,
also,
I mean,
let's just say it's not. Let's say it was actually a person. Let's say it's this well, whatever. Those are all bots. But like, if you do like the next 101, if you click just above, yeah, there.
yeah.
Let's just say this MSV ticket or this Tom Hobson were bots. Eventually, the community or somebody would tell us, hey, like that's a bot, and we just would go tag it. Like we're not all knowing. We don't see everything, and so a lot of it will be through engagement. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the new process would be for people to go. We have to open a ticket. If we have a bot, we need to open a ticket to someone that's going to configure that for us.
One day it would be, yeah, and someday it would be great to make that more open. It's not today, but yeah, we would get a ticket, or you would let Michelle know, and she'd say, hey, like we have a Jenkins bot showing on this project. Can you please fix it? She would put in a ticket for us,
so you could
and we would address it. Yeah.
You can click into support up here.
Yep.
And
put a ticket.
The easiest thing would probably be just to screenshot this section, highlight the ones that are bots, and you can attach it to support ticket. So this would be the
LFX right there on the right. LFX Insights, get help.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yep. And then that comes right to me, and I get to go, oh, cool, awesome. Let me go fix it. We try to be really proactive with those. And again, what you'll find is the good news is that data never gets worse. Okay. Every time I make adjustments and move stuff, it's just, there's a lot of projects. I'm not complaining. I'm not like trying to be like a whiny baby about it, but there's a lot of projects. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that don't want to be affiliated. There's a lot of people that don't want to be enriched. And so, which is fine. So we're just trying to do this in the least creepy, most open fashion we can in an area that hasn't really been tackled yet. In the way we're trying to do it. And, please just, as we have bumps along the way, send those tickets in. If there's projects you're interested in, again, as a foundation, as a continuous delivery foundation, I believe that's the name of yours. Yeah. I will do it from the foundation level. So I'm not going to be going into individual projects. I'll be going into each from the overall foundation, and we'll see what we can do to make that better. And I'll let Michelle know when that's done. But again, just as far as getting that prioritized with that team and getting that on my thing, I also go through these personally, so because I see bugs and learn weird stuff that's happening that allows me to then create some tickets and things off of that we can solve those as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to stress, I think the importance of self-service or at least transparency. So even if after you do all this configuration somewhere,
Yep.
we have no visibility on what has been configured and what has been excluded, included, which identities have been associated. So I think transparency is very important. And that takes me to the other question or point that I wanted to make. In the tool that we use now, I mean, we can see the queries and the data sources exactly where the data comes from. And I wanted to ask whether this is something that it will be available in this tool. It is planned for, at least, because like Tracy was saying earlier, we use the data that we have from our communities to like select electorate, for instance, or people who's getting maybe some kind of badge or reward or getting to vote for a certain governance and so forth. But if we don't have a transparency, we don't know where the data comes from, what the queries are selecting, what is included or not. Basically, this data becomes completely useless to us because every project has control on their governance, and they can say, well, we want to include people who show up at meetings. We want to include people who does create issue. We want to include people who is an ambassador in the voting. But if we don't know exactly what kind of what is the exact data source for the data that we are showing here, we basically cannot use it for those to match those criteria.
Yeah, I mean the source of data here, we're trying to be really transparent. It's GitHub. So if you see on the left,
yeah, but you can run queries on GitHub and you can have
filters.
filters.
No, I get it. What we're going to try to do is put each of those in there with our documentation to try to make that transparent. To your point about transparency, the good news is this view is a read-only kind of UI of what we have in our on our thing. So what I would say to that is, we're hoping that we're being transparent in the sense that, like, if you, because we don't know these communities as well as you do, if you're like, hey, this is wrong, we'll get tickets and get told and kind of move forward from there. But yeah, everything we're moving towards is trying to make the product as transparent as we possibly can, show our queries. We're not there today, but as we kind of, because they're kind of changing more than I would like right now, in a sense, not all of them, just some stuff. And so I think as we get a really stable foundation, as if you notice in the corner, it says I had them at a little beta thing, because I was like, dude, we're not like full 100%, like, you know. Also, we have a small team. We're not like a giant company. Like, we have a nice brand. We love our projects. I also have a very small team that's working on this, and we're working very hard. So I'd say I commit to continuing to make it as transparent as possible, and just keep pushing on us. If there's something that you don't think works, like I'll tell you exactly how we're doing something, and you can pick it apart and tell us why that wouldn't work. So, and then over time, I want to source everything in the project, in the product. So it's just very transparent. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. No, I mean, this looks great. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I just
I appreciate it. Yeah. Data quality and like getting people to believe in the data is my constant struggle. And so anything I can do to make that where you don't have to talk to somebody about it, you can just see what we did. Even if you don't agree, at least you can see what we did, is where I want to take this, right? I want to show our work, and make it hey, this is where we got it. And then let people push against that and go, well, that's wrong. Okay, great. Let's change it. Okay, let's update the documentation. That's really where I want to get with this product, where it's very clear. And today I'd say it's somewhat clear. So you'll see that continuing to happen. Steve, did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, just real quick. We use Google Groups for our mailing list. What do we need to do to associate that?
So what we would need to write we need to do an integration with that. I would say write a ticket. You can write that support ticket and put that in, because I'll have to prioritize it against a bunch of other integrations that we'd be working on. So we want to get some CI/CD integrations. Those are probably, I'm just going to be blunt, probably a higher priority for now. But I haven't looked into the Google Groups. It might be an easy integration. It could be piggybacking on this mailing list data that we could do. But just go ahead and put a ticket in, and then I'll be able to prioritize that with the team against future integrations. But I do know we want to continue to bring things. What we try to do for Q2, we had a problem with this project, or maybe LF projects overall, where we were trying to do too much. So we really took Q2 to like, okay, let's simplify and stabilize. Let's invest in data quality. and then also just when there's one other bucket, but Q3 will be an extension of that, where maybe it'll be less about simplifying and stabilizing our code base, paying off some of our tech debt, because we moved pretty fast and got into what I would say is a little bit of a fractured state. We want to bring a more cohesive experience to all of our products, again, instead of hitting a little widget and thing that has 8 different things. So we're working on that. But I'd say specifically to your question, we slowed down our integrations. We want to bring those back Q3 and 4, really towards more Q4. And that's just because we didn't want to keep adding more onto the house without paying off some of the debt and fixing some of the foundational elements that we wanted to do. But you'll see that. So I agree with you. If you guys are on Google Groups, I would like to bring that in as an integration and be able to show you data around your mailing lists. Yeah.
Okay,
group data.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions or anything like that? Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. One action I'll take is the enrichment piece, and the other, and I'll let Michelle know when that goes. If there's more feedback, I didn't expect it all on the call today. If you play with the tool, you can find it again on that insights.lfx, or the insights tool. I can also I can drop a link real quick in here too. If you have feedback, like, I'm open to it, even if it's like hey, like you guys kind of don't do a good job on this or that. Like, I'm here for it. Like, Tracy, your point around, there are ambassadors and there's work happening out in the community that we're not capturing. I totally agree with you, and if you have ideas or ways where we could do that in a systematic way, where it would say, hey, and not so much about where we're going to put it into our ecosystem, but if there's a way that you think, or something we should be capturing, to your point about ambassadors, like maybe there's a way I can tag ambassadors in our data and then start to show that in some way. I'm open to it. I just would have to learn more about it and think about it, and see if we can make a scalable solution that's like, because I know one feedback I get is like, well, we have these mentorship programs, and so mentorship, ambassador, things like that is things we do over time want to be thinking about. I would say they're probably, again, they're just things I want to be thinking about more holistically. So even if it's stuff that's pushing on the direction we're going, or, Andrea, to your point about like showing our work, please just keep the feedback coming, because I'm listening. I'll do the best I can, and I'll keep showing up. So with that said, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Kieran, and thank you, team. Sorry we went way over in time for our spot. So thank you, Andrea, for inviting us, and thank you everyone for listening. Please reach out with any questions.
Thank you, and thank you, Kieran, for the presentation, and thank you for taking all of our questions. I'm sure we'll provide continuous feedback as we use more of the tool and learn more about it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Bye.
We have a few minutes left, and we have some new people on the meeting today. Sorry, I have not done it in the beginning, but if they wanted to introduce themselves, I think we can spare a few minutes for them to do so. If not, welcome to the meeting. I'm not sure if, or maybe they left. No, oh no, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking for the list of participants. All right, then if not, let's move on. So couple of things on the agenda, just quickly. TOC elections, we have nomination running. So thanks again, Michelle, for setting them up. We have 2 TOC seats for end user elected seats that expired in May, and we have 3 TOC governing board elected seats will expire in July, or expire because we're in July now. And so nominations are open, and there are 2 days left to nominate. So please go ahead and nominate candidates, or reach out to your network if you think someone would be a good candidate to join the TOC. Last meeting, we mentioned the CDF implementation working group, or at least we mentioned a new working group. So that's the official name we came up with. So we had our first meeting, and there is a new GitHub repo available for the group. I just wanted to share the link to the group. If folks are interested in joining, the group is going to focus on the actual implementation of CDF. So what kind of software is needed, architecture and tools and SDKs and so forth. And in terms of CD Mini Summit, the program committee has finished reviewing the proposal and selected TOCs. And I think announcement went out today from Roxanne, and the program will be announced soon. And I put a link to the event that is going to be in September after the Open Source Summit. Right, and yeah, that's all I had for the agenda today. Is there anything else anyone wanted to bring up today?
Just a quick question. Are we going to pause as we go into later in the summer, these meetings? I can't remember.
That's a good question. We haven't discussed that. I mean, probably folks have holidays coming up in August. I guess it's up to the team. I think we can cancel meetings if no one is available.
I thought we were going to meet in Santa Fe in August.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
That works. It's easy commute for us.
Is it sponsored by the
I'll
Linux
be in
Foundation?
Taos. You know, let's go. Let's do it.
There we go.
Maybe what we can do, if folks don't mind, in the agenda here, if you have upcoming holidays or scheduled holidays for July, August timeframe, to share them with the rest, and then we can see if we have some days where most of the people will be away, we can decide to cancel the meeting. If it makes sense. Does that work?
Yeah, that's fine. Either way, just wasn't sure if we're just going to just do a blanket pause or if we're just going to handle it one meeting at a time. Either way works.
We can also do a blank pause, maybe in August. I don't know, any feedback on that from anyone else?
I kind of vote for a pause too. I think August, we should just give everybody a break.
Yeah, okay.
Unless there's something critical that we have to get together, then we can call a meeting.
Yeah, I will be away I have some days off in August as well, so that would work for me as well. I can send then a message on the TOC Slack channel and mailing list and cancel the meeting or see if there is anyone.
Yeah, so I would say we do our next meeting 2 weeks from now and then pause till we get back in September.
Okay, sounds good to me. All right, thanks for bringing that up, Steve. And thanks everyone for joining today and for the feedback on the LFX tools. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Until next time then.
All right, thanks everybody.
Bye.